Hello and welcome to IMAGE The Motherload, the podcast for mums who work inside and outside the home. I'm your host, Dominique McMullen. I'm Image Media's editorial director and mum of 2 boys. Each week I'm joined by a guest to talk about the realities of modern motherhood and to hopefully leave you feeling a little more seen and a little less alone. You can think of us as part of your village because we're here, hopefully, to lighten the load. IMAGE The Motherload is powered by Peugeot and sponsored by Liffey Valley, Avoca, Revive Active, Optimal Advanced and Tigers Childcare. We're recorded here in the beautiful Hoxton Hotel. My guest today is Yemi Adenuga. I first came across Yemi 2 years ago when she graced the main stage at the Shona Project's Shine Festival, and I have been mesmerised by her ever since. She's one of those women whose presence utterly fills a room. She is a county councillor, she is a community organiser, she's a broadcaster, a mother of 4, and she is the first ever Black woman to be elected to public office in Ireland. She is a special person. Her life has been shaped by migration, by joy, by resilience, by a remarkable childhood, and by a firm belief in the power of women to change not just their own lives, but to change the world around them too. We're going to be talking about that and also talking about what it's like to live as a Black woman, as a mother, and ultimately as yourself in the public eye. I'm excited for this one. Let's get into it. So welcome, Yemi.
Thank you, Dominic. It's great to be here, finally.
Yeah, finally. I said in the intro, the first time I came across you was 2 years ago when you were on stage at Shine Festival for the Shona Project. And I
love Shine.
Oh, I was mesmerised by you. I mean, you really held a huge room and everybody was, you were incredible on that stage.
Oh, you're too kind. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love being at Shine because it aligns so much with my values and even my goal to just pour of myself and, inspire the world and young girls, especially given my background.
Yeah.
So I just love Shine. I love Tammy. She's one of my best buddies.
Yeah.
I love to support her and she's doing such amazing work. So
she is.
She always tells me, if you ever leave me, I'll come for you. They were like, never, ever. So Shine is always top on the list every October.
And that's Tammy Darcy, for those who don't
Tammy
know.
Darcy.
Who's the CEO of the Shona Project,
yes.
who inspire and empower and educate Ireland's young women. They do incredible work.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Yemi, I'd love to take us back a little bit. But before that, the first question I ask people is about what stages and ages of motherhood and indeed grandmotherhood they are at. So do you want to tell me about your kids a little bit?
Whoa. I have 4 kids. I shouldn't call them kids now. They'll be going
grown-ups.
4 children. 2 boys and 2 girls. My boys this year would be 17 and 18.
Very good.
And my girls 26 and 33. Wow. Yes. My 33-year-old is married. This year she'll be 10 years married.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I can't believe it's 10 years already. I just can't believe. It felt like yesterday when we had the wedding. Was such beautiful ceremony. Such beautiful ceremony. She has 3 kids.
Wow.
Herself, 2 boys and 1 girl. So I have 3 grandkids who call me Glamma. The girl is 2 years old. That's Alisa. Oh, she is the commander of the house. Like, she knows she's beautiful. She's, when you say, Alisa, you're so cute. I know.
I love it.
She just warms my heart up. And the boys, Amari is 4 and Asher is 8.
Wow.
And they are the joy of my life.
Are
they are,
they?
oh my God. Every time I either visit or they come to visit, they just light up the house. They just light up my heart. And I just forget the world. I forget the world. So
grandmotherhood suits you.
Yeah, suits me. I think it's something I didn't know how I was going to feel about it. And now it's the best gift God could ever have given me. Just watching them grow and make their own path as little kids. And I love it.
My mum has said to me a few times that she didn't understand that she could love even more than her own kids love other children.
That is it.
Yeah.
That is it. There's a different space in your heart. The love you have is completely different from, it's the same love, but there's some kind of feeling. I don't know how to explain it. It's like when you're trying to explain childbirth.
Yeah. Impossible.
You know, there's a kind of love there, and you just want to keep them in. But of course you have to give them back because they have their own mom and dad. But I just love having them around. And when they, they're like, Gladma, we want this. They know they can get away with murder with me. So
I'm sure. I'm sure.
But at the same time, can set them straight.
I'd love to go back then to your childhood. I mean, you have a remarkable childhood. And when you told me the story first, we were away on a night away actually with Tammy.
Yes.
And my jaw was on the floor. I mean, you have the most remarkable story. So could you tell us back from the beginning? I mean, you're one of 27 children.
I've told this story God knows how many times. If I had a penny for every time I told it, I'd probably be a billionaire by now. But I found that it inspires people when they hear it. So I don't mind sharing it. I grew up in a background where, as a girl, it was very hard. It was very difficult. My father's family at the time didn't think that my mother's girls could become anything or amount to anything. My mom was the last of 7 wives for my dad, and she had only 6 biological daughters. She'd worked hard. I think her only goal was just to make sure that we had the life she didn't have. She didn't have an opportunity to finish school. If I remember her story correctly, she was in school, but she fell ill and had to leave school and was never able to go back because then she was sent to her grandmother to be looked after.
Okay.
And it was a different setting, a completely different space. And she didn't have the chance then to go to school. So she was sent to learn a trade. She's one of the smartest, most intelligent, brilliant, wise women I've ever met in my life.
Really?
She knows how to, I think my way of wanting to solve problems, I think I got that from her. Because even watching her as my mom growing up, she always would say, when there's a problem, she'd be like, okay, that's great. How do we solve this? She's always like, solution driven. She doesn't dwell on the problem because there was always a problem, especially in the kind of household I grew up in.
Yeah.
So I think I got that from her. My sisters got that from her. We're always, let's solve the problem. Stop talking about the problem. It's not going to solve itself. And I've learned to pass that on to my children. So growing up in the environment where there were several other kids who were my siblings from my dad's side of the family, it was hard for my mom because my dad's family didn't think that, because they didn't think that as girls we would make anything of our lives. At that time, there was always the focus on the boy child.
Was that very open and known? Like that was spoken about?
It was open and known in most spaces. It's even worse in the north.
In Nigeria?
In Nigeria. It's where I'm originally from. It's worse in the north. But there's certain sides, and it's also, depends on the family. It depends on their perspective towards life and how they see things, or how open-minded they are.
Yeah.
And for my father's family, I think they took advantage of my father's good nature.
Okay.
He would be very generous to his siblings. He would be very supportive. During the war in Nigeria, he had served in the war as a military person, working also as a military nurse. He had learned all kinds and manners of trade just to be able to pay for his siblings to go to school.
Wow.
So he supported them and their families. But when it was time for them to support him back, I don't think they gave as much as they got. So, I mean, I saw that firsthand, and they would take advantage of his good nature, and they would sometimes suggest what they felt was right for him to do with his children. And because he loved them so much, he would, oh yeah, that's a great idea and all of that. So they felt they had a say in how his children were raised as well. And they had made comments about how my mother's girls were going to end up on the streets selling their bodies, and that's all we're going to be good for. I was, I think, about 13 years old, and unfortunately I heard it, and it hit me. It really hit me. I think that was one of the times in my life when I knew that no one was going to look out for me. and no one was going to look out for my mother's daughters. And that the only person who really genuinely cared about us at the time was my mother. And that's why today I move mountains for my mother. Oh my God. I not that I will, I do move mountains for her because she could do no wrong in my eyes. Of course we do, like quarrel and like, oh mom, no, and all of that. But I forget quickly whatever it is because I think about the sacrifices she had to make, selling the clothes off her back, selling her jewelry, just to make sure our girls had a life, went to school. She gave everything for me to be sitting here today. So everything I do is to make her proud. Most things I do is to make her proud. And I'm delighted she's still alive and she can see it. And coming out of that experience, I told myself, I will not allow anybody to control my life. They don't have the key to my life. Who died and made them king? And if I'm going to make my mother proud, then it means I have to try and work hard, to be somebody. I didn't know who I was going to be. I didn't know at the time in Nigeria you could only be one of four professions: a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, an accountant. Anything else, you're on your own.
Wow, limited.
Very limiting. Very, very limiting. And I thought, okay, I'll be an accountant. So went to polytechnics, did accountancy, and just to prove that I was somebody. But it's so weird that didn't even go down that line eventually when I started to discover myself. But I was blessed with people along the way. And this is what I always say to people. Everyone is blessed with people, even the good, the bad, the ugly. They have a purpose in your life. It's just up to you how you use the connections that you have, So yeah, it's been a journey.
What's your mum's name?
My mom's name is Christiana.
Christiana.
She has a Nigerian name, Adeola.
But,
Adeola, yes. But we would call her Christiana. That's her. But when she married my dad, she became a Christian.
Okay.
So that's the name she would be known by. And I just love saying the name. Some people call her Christina. She's like, nope, Christiana.
It's different. Yeah. And does she live in Ireland now?
She lives with me now. I brought her to be able to look after her. She's getting older. And I want her to be well looked after. So she lives with me now.
Amazing. Tell me about how you came to Ireland. How was that journey for you? I mean, you grew up in Nigeria, you'd done your accounting. Were you living at home with your six siblings, 6 girls?
Yes, we grew up together.
Yeah.
And then everyone went their separate ways when we left secondary school.
Yeah.
Because, of course, people will find their path. But we've always been so strongly bonded together. Of course, the siblings will quarrel. That's
normal.
Life, that's normal.
Yeah.
But the one thing we always remember is that we're from the same line. We have a WhatsApp group where we chat and bicker and like, no, and then we sort it out. And
yeah,
we're so well bonded. We love the fact that we have a goal to make sure that we stay united no matter what. We stay connected and we stay united because of our mom. She's the link. So we grew up together. We learned off each other, bounced off each other. We always said that whatever we did, we would reflect on our mom. So we were always very conscious. We didn't want people to say, oh, they would call my mom Mama Yemi. So what would happen way back then is mothers would be called by the name of their first daughters. So Mama, first daughter. So because I'm her first child, so they will call her Mama Yemi.
Oh, wow. So you really are being reflected in her then. Yeah.
So
it's a lot of pressure.
Tell me about it. Even my sisters, something needs to be done. Like, yeah, you're the senior. Yeah, you get more share of whatever contributions. I'm like, for God's sake, if we have to share money now, you're all looking for equal share. So we always felt that it would reflect on our moms. So all of us, we had a goal to make her proud. And then everybody went their separate ways. I worked in broadcasting in Nigeria.
And you're downplaying that. You were a big deal in broadcasting in Nigeria. I know.
I loved it. I think it was the place where I discovered who I was, and that I was a people person. I discovered my purpose. Even though at the time I hadn't come into the fullness of who I was, but I had an idea and I used the platform so well. And I say this to people all the time, wherever you are, whatever space you're in, you're not there by accident. You're not there by chance. Use it well. It's a thing I say to either my mentees or my students about opportunity. Opportunity, when I was growing up, we were told, opportunity only comes once in a lifetime. That's it. If it's gone, it's gone. You've missed it. That's a lie. It's there every day. Dominique, you and I are sitting here today having this fantastic chat. That's an opportunity. It's staring at us every day. And I always tell my mentees, you have to recognize opportunity. That's one. Two, you have to take it. If you don't know the answer, go Google it. Find out the answer. You always have a skill, a gifting to do something more. Thirdly, use it well.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you are literally pulling the ladder off some people who are coming behind you, who are looking to you to be able to create the way for them or pave the way for them or create a pathway for them. And the fourth thing is pass it on. Don't be selfish. Somebody made it possible for you to be there. Pass it on. That's why I love mentorship. I've been mentoring for over 27 years. I've mentored over 23,000 people in different parts of the world.
Whoa.
My goal is just to empty myself when I go to my grave, whatever it is. I want to be happy to say I poured off myself everything I've known. And every day you learn. So as I learn, I just like, oh yeah, I pour it out. So for me, I didn't know who I was going to be when I was growing up. And when I left to go to the high institution, I didn't know. What can I be? What can I be? There was nobody, there was no role model. There was nobody to tell me who I could be. So it was hard. I just navigated every chance I got. And that's why I'm so keen on using opportunities right.
Yeah.
Everyone I met, I knew they had something to give me. The first thing I always thought about is, what can I give them? What can I give them? What can I give them? And I kind of noted that every time I gave first, I got a bit more. Every time I gave, I wanted to show that I had something to give. Maybe it was me trying to prove myself. I don't know. But I always just wanted to give something. And that's part of what led me into broadcasting. Every time I'm with people, I always would speak about what I have benefited from anything I've done. And my husband's friends used to tease me and go, oh, you sound like Voice of America. You should be on radio. I'm like, you're right. Who would have me? But when the opportunity came for an interview to go for an audition, it was my husband, who was my boyfriend then, who said, you have to go. I looked for every excuse in the book.
Really?
I'm telling you. I said, I have nothing to wear. He got me a dress. I don't know how to get there. He booked me a taxi. Got there. There were about almost 1,000 people.
Auditioning.
And
was
they
this
picked
for the
11.
role of broadcaster?
So the government-owned radio station in the state, at the time Ogun State, were starting for the first time a frequency modulation channel, the FM channel.
Okay, yeah.
And so they were looking for new crop of presenters. So they were auditioning for those presenters, and they were looking for, I think, 10 people. They ended up picking 11. They were looking for 10 people, and I was one of the 10 they picked. I think they added one person subsequently after they picked the 11. And I couldn't believe it. And they trained us. That was where I found my mentor in broadcasting, who just totally groomed me on how to speak, I used to be such a fast speaker. So he taught me how to kind of like control my tone, speak properly, and find my niche in broadcasting. And I just went from there, had my own talk show on television, had my own programs on radio. Sharing with Yemi was Nigeria's #1 talk show for the number of years it ran, prime time, and did really fantastic things with that. I think that was where the mentorship part of my mentorship program, YAML program, kind of evolved, where I was asked to mentor young people, and it started from there, and it just grew and exploded. Just that visibility of the talk show did the work.
Did you enjoy it? Were you having fun at that stage? Yeah.
I loved it. We talked societal issues.
Amazing.
So it gave me the chance also. We didn't just have a show. We had a show that dealt with issues and preferred solutions. So we wouldn't end the show with just, oh yeah, this is a nice show. No, it would be, what are we going to do? I'll give you an example. One of the first episodes we did was when we dealt with young girls who are in prostitution. And for me, I particularly wanted that episode because I was told that I was going to end up being a prostitute. Thank God I didn't. But I was very concerned, maybe concern was the thing, or I was curious about young girls who ended up in prostitution. I'd done a documentary, I think 2 or 3 documentaries about young girls in difficult situations in Nigeria, and prostitution was one of them.
Is it a common problem?
Sorry,
not problem. That's the wrong word.
Challenge.
Challenge.
Yes, it's a challenge because of the difficulties that a lot of young girls will find themselves in, maybe paying for their education. The parents might not be able to afford it. Some people would do it for the wrong reasons. Obviously, these kinds of things would happen. But
and some people, we do acknowledge sex work as a choice, and some people
work is a choice. Exactly.
Want
That's
to
what I
do
was
it.
going to say. Some people, it's a choice.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Way back then, it wasn't something that would generally be a choice.
Yeah, it's a different situation.
Would be forced into it because of their circumstances. So to have, when I said to the chairman of the board of the alternative television station I worked for that I was going to have an episode where we would bring prostitutes on the show, he was like, that's never going to happen. They're never going to come.
Sure, yeah.
And I'm like, you think so? He's like, yeah. I said, you've given me a challenge. And we had them on the show. We had 3 ladies who, you know, were in the trade on the show. And one of the things that it always still gets me emotional is that we were able to get 2 of them off the trade. I'd collaborated with 3 organizations that were ready to support them and just deal with the reason they went into the trade and then get them out of the trade. I remember one of the ladies crying on the show and saying, this is the first time my children were going to know what she did for a living.
Wow.
And I said, are you sure you want to put this out? She said, yes, because some people already know and I don't want them to hear it from other people. So as soon as we finished recording the show, I'd asked my driver to go get her children before we broadcast the show. And I sat with her and the kids and I said, I need you to tell them before we put the show on. And she told them and they cried together. And I'm so happy we were able to get her out of the trade, get her children into school. It was just so great to see her life turn around.
I mean, you know, when you say you were hosting a talk show, like you were doing an awful lot more than that. You were really challenging societal structures in Nigeria. You were doing really important, difficult work. And I'm sure you pissed people off in the process.
I did.
Yeah.
There were 2 or 3 occasions where I almost got arrested because some people felt I was taking a dig at them and they had the power to get me arrested and all of that. Like, how can you brought somebody on your show who was, you know, saying slanderous things. And I'm like, the show is open to you. Come, have your say. They didn't mention your name, so why did you think it was about you?
Yeah,
anything you gotta hide? Come on, they didn't mention. Well, we're always very cautious on the show, especially if people are telling stories that affect other family members. Never mention a name and all of that. But some people felt at the end of the day, we gave people platforms. We gave people a platform to come and tell your side of a story. And we ended up helping sometimes with resolve family food problems that had been going on for years and get the family to sit together and have a conversation and resolve it. And like, yeah, you didn't listen. Okay, let's stop. Let's mediate. We get a mediator sorted. Why? What's the challenge? And you find that some of the issues are very trivial things.
Yeah.
But ego and pride will get in the way. The world is not so hard. We complicate simple things. We make it harder for ourselves, you know? Unfortunately, that's life. So all of that, it was fantastic. And it was completely different than a different life when I came to Ireland.
Yeah.
My first Christmas, my first year in Ireland, I came in 2000. It was, what I remember so vividly is my experience of Christmas.
Really? Is there no Christmas in Nigeria? Is it very different?
Different. Christmas, Dominique, I have to take you to Nigeria for Christmas.
Oh, please, let's go.
Christmas in Nigeria is a buzz.
Is it?
I don't think there's anywhere else where Christmas is nicer. Any given Christmas in my house here in Ireland, if I'm spending Christmas in Ireland, if we're not going to Canada to spend Christmas with my daughter and her family, or if they're not coming over here, if we're in Ireland, there will be a minimum of about 30 people in my house.
Wow. That's a big crowd.
Food, music, oh my God.
Are you cooking?
No. No. Everybody brings something.
Lovely.
But I love to cook, so sometimes I cook.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes I cook.
Okay.
Sometimes people were like, so, would you make us your favorite chicken? I'm like, no problem. So I'll make it. And there'll be so much food and so much, celebration. So
that.
Christmas is different.
Well, I'm looking forward to our Christmas in Nigeria next year. As a mum, the reality is we spend a lot of time in the car, whether that's juggling the kids or work or a combination of both. And you need a car that is going to make life easier. The other Image mums and I recently test drove the Peugeot 3008 and 5008, and we were genuinely so impressed. They are spacious, with room for car seats and buggies and sports gear and anything else you can think of. And they're full of really innovative tech too. The 3008 SUV is a perfect mix of style and practicality, and the 5008 has even more space, including 7 seats if you need it. So whether you have teens or toddlers or babies, Peugeot has thought of everything. Because when life gets busy, you need a car that's going to keep up, and Peugeot just gets it. Let's get back to the show. Will you tell me about the move to Ireland? Your daughter, your first daughter was already born at that stage, am I right?
She was only 7 when we came here, and she's 33 now.
Wow, yeah.
She has 3 kids. And it was, for me, when you want something better for your children, when you want a better life for your children, it's exactly what my mother did, giving everything possible for her children to have a better life. I always thought about the future of my children. What would it be like? And what are the opportunities that are there for them? And coming to Ireland, my daughter, she's an extrovert. My first daughter is an extrovert. My second daughter is an introvert.
Really?
So they're the opposite.
Very different.
Very different. And she was so connecting to people. In school, she would be the child who would raise her hand for everything. She wanted to have a say in everything. She made friends. She connected people. She was buzzing, full of life. She had my energy. And every time I looked at her, I was glad that I was able to give her a chance to find better opportunity for her life, which she has done. Ireland became home. I lived in Dublin for about 4 years. Yeah. Worked in IBM, moved, but I had to move because when my landlady heard that I'd moved up a bit in my work, my rent went up.
For God's sake.
In Dublin. So a colleague of mine who we worked together in IBM then said, there's a house beside mine in Navan that it's, open, and my landlady owns the same house. Would you move? I'm like, Navan, it's very far. She said, far from where?
Yeah, good point.
She said, I get to work before you. I lived in Lucan at the time. She said, I get to work before you. You're always stuck in traffic. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, I'll go see. So I drove with her after work one day. The minute we got to Johnstown Junction and I'd won the glass down, the air was different, was cooler. I'm like, I like this. And when we drove into the estate, I hadn't even seen the house. I said, I love this place. I'm moving. And Navan has been home ever since. I love living in Navan. I wanted my children to have a home, a base. If you ask anybody from a place, this is where they were born and this is where they grew up. If you ask them where they're from, say, for example, if I asked you where you're from, Dominique? Ireland. You're from Ireland, yeah?
Ireland,
you're from Dublin. Where in Dublin?
That's kind of complicated, actually. I live in Enniskerry now.
Yeah. But where are your parents from in Dublin?
I know, yeah.
Yeah. You drill down, where you grew up, all of those kinds of things. Yeah. I wanted to be able to give my children that.
A clear answer to give.
Exactly. Yeah. If you ask me where I'm originally from, I'm from Nigeria, from Ogun State. That's where my father's from. My mother's from Kogi State. Where in Ogun State, in Ijebu, where in Remo, Ikperu, where in Ikperu, Jalugba, where in Jalugba. I can drill down to my father's house.
Yeah.
I wanted to give my kids that. When you say where you're from, you want to really know where you're from. And Navan was the place for me.
Does that question bother you when people say that to you? Where are you from? And what they mean when they say that.
That's the key, though.
Yeah.
There are two folds to it. Some people ask genuinely out of curiosity. Some people ask to tell you, well, you're not really from here.
Yeah.
And you can tell in the tone of the question from the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and I always say to people, you have to understand why people get upset, why migrants get upset when they get asked that question. Because somewhere along the line, they may have just been told that they're only Irish on paper. I've heard that many times. Yeah, you're only Irish on paper, which means you're not worth anything being Irish beyond the passport you're holding as an Irish citizen. And for some people, that can be very hurtful. And if they just heard that and they're trying to marinate that, and then somebody then asks them, so where are you really from? And it's not the where you from question that is the problem. It's where are you really from.
Yes.
That is the problem. As if stamping on what they've just been told, that they're only Irish on paper, and somebody's just affirming that and saying, well, you're not really from here. So where are you really from? So that's why it bothers people. It's that sense of acceptance.
Absolutely.
And belonging. Like,
yeah.
I've lived here for years. When will I be a part of the community? I've contributed. I've been a part of everything around this community. So that's why the where you're from question or where you're really from question bothers people. And at the same time, I also try to explain to migrants as well that you are now Irish. You have to understand that where you're from is a typical Irish question.
Yeah, there's the other side of it.
The other side, if a Navan woman went to Cork on holiday, she will be asked, where are you from?
Yeah.
And she said, I'm from Navan.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but at the same time, I say to people who care to listen from the native Irish community, you don't have to say where you're really from.
Take the really
If you
out.
say, where are you from? And they say, I'm from Navan, take it and then get into a conversation. I can guarantee you that as you get to know people, you wouldn't need to ask them. They would tell you, they'll be proud to tell you about their background,
of course,
which will then tell you where they're really from or where they're originally from. You wouldn't have to ask that question. Some people will say to me, yeah, but I'm just curious. Curious for what exactly? Aren't you curious to know the person? Why is it just where they're really from that is important? Do you want to put them in a class when you know where they're really from? Why don't you get to know the person first? Yeah. And you might be shocked what you discover. You'll be shocked to discover that that taxi driver was actually an accountant before he left his country. Or probably was an engineer and just had to pay the bills. That's why he's driving a taxi. You've discovered so much about people beyond where they're really from. So I think one of my goals that, really gets me going every single day is to be one of those people who help to make Ireland a better place where we can learn to live together as a better community. We can get to know each other. And that's the challenge we have. We don't know each other.
Yeah.
We're living beside people who we don't even know their first names. And we've been neighbors. They ask you about your neighbor. You've been neighbors for 10, 15, 20 years. They don't know you. You don't know them.
And that's getting worse. It's not getting better.
It's getting worse. It's getting worse. One of the things I always do, if I ever move, we connect with our neighbors. I intentionally would set up a barbecue for nothing. Like, my husband is so great at this. I have to give him credit. He would make friends with the worst person. I remember one time we lived in a neighborhood where we had a neighbor from, where, and he was so mean to everybody. And because he was right next door to us, he was so terribly mean. And I knew it wasn't just about us. It was about the kind of person he was. And every time we had visitors, he would come and bang on my door, put his hand on the bell and not take it off. Say, would you tell your friend to come move the car? And like, but that's my front yard. It's not yours. Yeah, but I need to get out. It's not blocking your door. You just want to make trouble. My husband made friends with him. The whole neighborhood was shocked. That's the kind of person he is. That's the kind of people we are. So it doesn't matter who people are. When they get to know you, a person with a heart of stone can become a person with a heart of flesh.
Yeah.
So we just need to get to know each other. People are afraid of what they don't know.
Yeah. And it's community as well.
It is community.
It's so important.
And we've lost that.
Yeah.
And every time I speak to my friends who are native Irish people, I share some of the things, some of the values I grew up with, some of the things that I loved about communal spirit in Nigeria. They tell me, we had that as well years ago.
Yeah.
Everyone looked out for everyone.
Yeah.
If you're going down the road and your father's friend saw you, he'd be like, come, Dominique, why are you 3 streets away from your house?
Yeah.
You need to get back home. You can't be walking on your own. People could intervene when things happen. But these days, you try to, parents will come down hard on you and say, who gave you the power to talk to my child?
Absolutely.
Who told you could, help my child?
Yeah. And I think for motherhood especially, that community is so important.
Very important.
When you're raising children.
And a lot of mothers are struggling.
Yeah.
You can't just go to the neighbor and say, I need to quickly pop down to get a jar of milk. Can you help me look after John?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't do that anymore.
No, you're on your own.
It's sad. It's really sad. Mothers struggle, families struggle. We've lost ourselves. We've lost our communal spirit. We would rather allow a stranger to look after a child
than a neighbor.
Than a neighbor who at least we know who they are and we know that they're not going to murder the child.
Yeah.
It's really sad. And I think as a society, we need to take a step back and think about where we got it wrong.
Yeah.
And think about the benefits that we enjoyed when things were simple.
Yes.
I know it's going to be a long way back. People say, when you go forward, you never go back. But sometimes you do need to go back. And on this one, maybe we need to take a step back.
And I think you're doing so much, through your role as councillor too, and community organiser generally. You are doing so much to help bring people together. And the irony of that as well, when you're experiencing things, especially like the incident that you experienced on the street recently, a really despicable racist incident, which I first of all want to acknowledge and say, I'm so sorry that you experienced that. And that I hope you know that doesn't represent, the feeling of Irish people. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Tell us what happened, because it really was quite shocking for you.
It was. I have experienced those kinds of things before. Not necessarily physical. Online would be worse. And that's one of the reasons I stopped using X. Very brutal. I've experienced all sorts. Take my head off on a picture, put the head of a goat, put my head on the body of a goat, put my name on a gollywog, called me
Jesus,
one, took my children's photos and just all sorts I've seen, called me all kinds and manners of names.
What does that do to you, Yemi? Does that mean you say it like that and you're so positive and you're known for, your vivacity and positive nature and, the bringing together of community that you do. And when you've been treated like that and spoken to like that, does it affect you on some level?
I am human. Of course it affects me. I'm very human. Blood flows through my vein. But I've learned something growing up, that you have no control over how people choose to treat you. Mm-hmm. You have no control. What you have control over is how you react or how you respond.
Yeah.
That's all I have control over.
Yeah.
I can't stop somebody from maligning me or calling me names or talking about me negatively or making up stories about me. Dominique, if I told you the number of stories I've heard about myself, sometimes I stand in the mirror, I'm like, is there another Yemi? The lies that are made up about me, and people buy them. Unfortunately, social media is the kind of space where people don't fact check. They just read. And because I always feel that because they already wanted something negative to happen to you anyway.
Yeah.
So they're quick to buy a story that is negative.
Was it difficult then to actually go into politics in Ireland, having experienced all of that, to then be elected? To be elected as the first Black woman in public office in Ireland. Let's take a moment for that. How incredible is that? That must have been a moment for you.
It was. When I won the election in 2019, I didn't know it was making history. I had no clue. I wanted a platform to be able to do more of what I was already doing in Navan. As I said to you earlier, I wanted a base for my children, and Navan was it. And I plunged in straight away, volunteered. Every time I got the chance to volunteer, I raised my hand. Yeah, I want to help. What can I do?
Sorry, we left open the incident that you experienced in Navan. Sorry, reminded me when you're saying that you're so involved in the community that someone spat at you on the street. Yeah, just in case people aren't aware of the incident that I was referring to before. Despicable, unbelievable behaviour.
Yeah,
from someone who you're helping.
Quite harrowing. And I think the reason it was harder for me was because it happened in Navan.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I've experienced different things in different places, but happening in Navan, I froze.
Did you?
I froze. I felt like my stomach came out from my stomach and went to my throat. I didn't even know that I was standing in a space, and I ended up 3 days later, I ended up in a hospital because I had this terrible pain at my side. It was so sore. And they'd done tests, and then the doctor told me, there's nothing happening in there. But did you lift something recently? Or did you get a fright recently? And maybe did you feel? And then it hit me that it was the fright and it took the good part of almost 6 days before I started to feel settled again and in my stomach, because apparently that feeling I had on the day had shifted something inside. It was that hard for me. And, Dominique, you're so powerful. This is the first time I'm talking about that. I just wanted to, there's so many things I just wanted to put behind and move on.
Yeah, of course.
Because some of these things are hard to deal with, especially when you're not thinking of now.
Yeah.
You're thinking of, so what's going to happen tomorrow?
Yeah.
What's going to happen to my children?
Your kids.
What's going to happen to all the young migrant children in this country who are born here? Unfortunately, a lot of people don't know the difference between those of us who are first-generation migrants and the children who are born here. They don't know. Nobody has it written on their forehead, I was born here, so I'm Irish. No.
How do you wrestle with that, Yemi?
It's the piece of work that I'm trying to do. And I keep telling myself, if there's anything I want to be remembered for, is that I fought hard to try and make Ireland a better place for us all to live in. And I've said to myself, and I've said to anyone who cared to listen, that if anything good is going to come out of the assault that I experienced recently, it's that I would just plunge into whatever work is going on at national level to help to address these kinds of issues. Because I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it, we do not know each other in this country. And everyone's pointing fingers. Unfortunately, some of our leaders are also stoking the situations by the comments they make. They would tell you, we're only stating the facts.
Yeah.
But I could state a fact about you that is very injurious to you, that is damaging as well. I could state it in that way, or at the same time, I could state a fact that sets things straight. So it's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's the how these things are said. And they forget that when you start a fire, you better have the fire brigade ready to take it out, because it could burn the whole house down. And they're starting fires they can't control. And if we're not careful, we will not have the fire brigade to put it out when it burns, when it's about to burn the house down. And that's what you see on the street when you see young kids who are now being groomed because the adults don't want to do the dirty work themselves. They're grooming young kids who will go out in numbers, in cohorts, and attack innocent people on the streets. People who are assumed to be on social welfare, people who are assumed to have gotten a social housing, but these people are working, paying their bills, buying their own homes, contributing to the Irish economy, helping to make the economy better. These are the people who are getting attacked. But all the attackers don't know any different. They just see a migrant.
What can we do to help our children, to help our community? What small things do you tell people just that they can do practically day to day to improve that situation?
First of all, be open-minded. We all carry assumptions around.
Yeah.
Stop assuming. Ask questions and be ready, be open to apologizing. If somebody tells you, if you're instantly, you notice they're uncomfortable with a question, don't judge them that, oh, they're hiding something. People come from different cultural backgrounds. I remember somebody telling me, oh, I was speaking to this person who is a migrant and they couldn't look me in the eye. And I'm sure they were telling a lie. I said, no, they weren't. they probably come from a culture where women are not allowed to look men in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in such a culture. As a child, you could not look an adult in the eye when you're being spoken to. You look down. And I raised my children differently because I'm in a different culture. I'm in a culture where you have to look people in the eye to show, first of all, that you're confident and that you're telling the truth. But I didn't grow up in that culture. I had to adjust. I had to mentally adjust to the new culture we're now living. Not everyone has adjusted. Some people are new to this culture. And so if you're talking to somebody and it can't look you in the eye, don't assume automatically that they're telling a lie. Give them a chance. I remember this story so vividly. Somebody was sharing about how a lady from Africa was banging her head, right? And they kind of thought, oh, she had a mental breakdown at work, in the workplace, and they were going to section her. And I can't remember vividly if they brought her to the hospital yet, but it was another Black woman who had stepped in and asked, what's going on? And they said, oh yeah, she's banging her head. She must be having a mental breakdown. Like, would you give me a minute? She walked up to the lady and she said, how are you? I said, I'm great, thank you. Did you just make your hair? She had braids on.
Wow.
The weave, I think it was the plaits on. Yeah, I did. Is everything okay? Yeah, it's just so itchy.
Yeah.
And this is when we have braids on or weave on, what we call the weave on, it itches. When it's the first week or so, it itches. So to release the tightness or the tension, they tend to do this. Just pat it gently. Can you just imagine the poor woman would have been put on medication for the wrong reason? So we should ask questions. That's how we get to know each other. Plus, every time you get a chance to be kind, be kind. Our educational system, the syllabus has to evolve to such a level where we can begin to learn histories of different countries from the world.
Absolutely.
Because Ireland is a multicultural country and our children have to start to understand different countries so that they can ask the right questions. Let's encourage our children to make friends. And when they come home with learnings, let's listen. Let's not teach them how to be mean. Children are children. How can we groom children to be mean? How? Why? They are innocent. We're taking away their innocence by teaching them to be mean to other kids. That breaks my heart as a mother.
Mine too.
It breaks my heart. And I don't want our children to lose that innocence. So I think something that we can do, simple everyday things, before policies starts to change and help us all generally.
Which is important
Which
too.
is critical. And this is one piece of work that I'm really working hard to make sure that I'm able to push the needle or shift the needle on it on this.
You.
But until then, remember, first of all, you're human. Ask yourself, would I like that to be done to me? I'm not talking about people who are already hateful in their blood and their veins and they wouldn't change. You have those groups of people. No matter what you say, they'll never shift. That's fine. But what about you? You're the regular person who ordinarily would have been kind. But then somebody posts something mean and hurtful about other people and you're quick to believe it. Ask yourself the question, why did I quickly believe that? Why didn't I check? What if that was me? That could have been me. How would I have felt? Ask those questions before you share, before you pass judgment, before you castigate other people. Ask, if that was me, how would I feel? And how would I respond?
Simple question to ask
Simple,
yourself.
everyday, regular questions. Put yourself in other people's shoes.
Yeah.
Think about, what if I went to France or went to America and I was treated like an outsider?
Which has happened to Irish
How
people
would I
historically, hey? Yemi, I want to ask one final question. I would quite like to, could we please sit here all day, guys? I feel like I'm learning so much. I want to ask one final question. Your children and your grandchildren, from their experience of watching you navigate the world and your extraordinary life, what do you hope is the main lesson that they're learning from you?
That's a very powerful question. Well, I hope they're learning kindness from me. I hope they're learning never to give up on what they believe in. I've seen my kids, my son, my last baby, who will be 17 this year, he is one who stands up. He's a footballer in the house. He plays football. We're very proud of, I'm proud of all the kids. We're very proud of his decision to play football. And most of his trials, he's sorted them out by himself, looked for it, plunged in until he got what he wanted. So I'm
Good man.
You are the son of Yemi Adenuga. And my husband is so proud as a father, just watching him, evolve into himself. And he would stand up for people in school.
Oh, that's amazing.
The first time he got into trouble in school was that he was standing up for another young person, another student who people were ganging up against. And then he stepped in between and said, don't do that. And when he did that, then his hand touched the other boy. And the boy then said, oh, you pushed me. Well, the issue was resolved later. And I told him, be mindful. You have to learn to balance things. When you're trying to defend people, be very careful. Don't put your hand on him. So I didn't put my hand on him. I understand that, but be careful. But I was very proud of him.
I would be too.
Very proud of him.
Yeah.
That he knew to not allow injustice to happen around him.
Just like his mum.
And the one lesson I added for him was, and I'd learned this, I said, whilst you're trying to deal with injustice around you, you also have to mind yourself.
Yeah, of course.
Because you're no good to anyone when you're down and out. So I said, be careful how you do it. The world is different from when I was younger. The world is different now. So be careful how you do it, but don't stop doing it. And so I hope that my children would learn from me that they can make a difference. One person can make a difference. I have read stories of people who made a difference. I've seen people who have made a huge difference by just one action. And so I hope they learn that from me. I hope that they can learn to be upright people. We have family values in my house. We call them our Creed LA. C is for consistency, their strength, their skills, that they can be consistent in using it so that they become experts at it. R is for respect, that they continue to respect other people and they respect themselves. And I've told them, not everyone will respect you, but you must always give respect. You cannot control how people deal with you, but you can control how you react to how they deal with you.
Yeah.
So always be respectful. Even when you want to tell people where they belong, be respectful in how you do it. I is for integrity. Whatever you do, your name is what you're selling. You're an Adenuga. Remember you're an Adenuga. You are the Adenuga of Navan. You must always remember that name carries meaning. And so you must do what you do, knowing that you remember where you came from. And D is for do unto others how you'll have them do unto you. But you don't want people to do to you, don't do to them. L is for love. Love yourself. You are not perfect. I'm not perfect. We all have our, good sides and bad sides. But embrace the good side that you have. And if you can change anything that you don't like, change it. But love yourself first, because if you don't expect others to love you. And then love the people who love you, because there are not too many good people out there.
Yeah.
So if you find good people who truly, genuinely love you, hold on to them. That's why I love family. For me, family is the bedrock of who I am. And real friends. I have a handful of real friends who will forever be my friends. They're my cushion. They catch me like my family. They're no longer friends. They're like family. And you don't have too many of those kinds of people. So I teach my children, love your friends who love you. And then love the people who even hate you, because the Bible, I'm a Christian, the Bible commands us to do that. And what that means is not that you're going to go and then be loving on them. No, it means that you're not going to be hateful to them.
Yeah.
You will not repay them in their coin. And the last part of our value, family value, is A for authenticity. Never change who you are because somebody has done something. Don't let what people do make you become who you're not. Remain who you are. And that's, for me, that value is what enables me to remain who I am, to stay grounded in my belief. Some people slag me and say, oh, you're a Christian. You always talk about your Christianity. Say, what would you rather I talked about? Would you rather I am a bad girl who's doing bad things? You would love that, wouldn't you? No, I'm a good girl. And I remain a good girl because of my Christian beliefs. It keeps me grounded. There are times I really want to, but my values don't let me. My belief don't let me. And that's the good thing. So believe in a higher power, whatever that is. But it has to be one that keeps you positive and helps you to remain authentic so that you don't lose yourself to the world. So I hope they learn that from me.
Like, amazing set of lessons there. Yemi Adenuga, thank you so much for spending time with me today.
Thank you for having me. It's been such a beautiful conversation, Dominique.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
We really have to plan that trip to Nigeria.
I'm looking forward to it. And my bags are already packed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. That is where we're going to have to leave it today. Thank you so much to Yemi and to you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, this is the bit where I ask you to do all of the things. Please like and follow and subscribe to our channel, or even better, go and tell a mum you know about us. It helps us to reach new people. Finally, I want to thank the brands that make the Motherload possible. IMAGE The Motherload is powered by Peugeot and sponsored by Liffey Valley, Avoca, Revive Active, Optimal Advanced and Tigers Childcare. And we were recorded here in the beautiful Hoxton Hotel in Dublin. I'll chat to you next week.